Alright, now I know it's been a month since I posted, but I finished procrastinating writing a script, so here we are. The one that you voted for. Chris is not who we think he is. Now he could go on about random stuff that changes, and a couple of clues that Chris is not who he thinks he is, like he's going from skinny to buff to fat, and a little fat, and he has more than one voice actor. And how many places he joins is good, and then there's a bad one, even if that bad one used to be a good line. And dang, this intro is meant to be 1 minute. That's what the script says, guys, and it actually is a minute. Dang, I need to refresh on my reading. Anyway, so let's get into the random details about why Chris is not who we think he is. So Resident Evil 1 is July 1998, while Resident Evil is in 2009, and he goes from this to this. While this might sound possible to go from skinny to buff, it takes the average person 6 months. And while 10 years is a lot of time, we have to assume that he'd have enough time to be working out, eating perfectly, while fighting bioweapons/zombies, depending on where he goes in between the games. Now, there would be one other explanation, and that's steroids. And well, yes, maybe. But do you think Chris would go that low just to get a six-pack? And then we got the body changes. Well, this is RE1 Chris, and this is RE5 Chris. And his face, while still being able to look similar, still the movement. The movement of the size of his head. Script has some imperfections. And his eyes are a little bit more apart. Now, Jill has changed more, but that was Wesker experimenting on her. And Chris, well, is meant to be 10 years older. That's still not justified moving his eye position and head size. And then we got that he has different voice actors, with RE1 being voiced by Scott. Well, in RE5, he's voiced by Roger Craig Smith. But before we can talk about why I think this might be, we have to go on to... Now, this may seem like a waste of time to recap, but trust me, it'll be important later. So in Resident Evil 1, he's part of STARS, and we know that he goes through the mansion with zombies, and this is where he learns about Umbrella. And we're not sure what he does from Resident Evil 1 to Resident Evil 5, but he joins the BSAA and wants to stop Umbrella, where he goes to Africa to stop Wesker with the G-Virus and meets people infected with the G-Virus. But then in Resident Evil 6, he learns about Neo Umbrella, with BSAA being good, Neo Umbrella bad. But then in Resident Evil 7, we find out he works for Neo Umbrella, but now they're good. And in RE8, the BSAA is now taking it too far with bioweapons. And this is a thing that happens. STAR is the best job to have. Everyone dies or leaves. BSAA will help take down Neo, but now it has bioweapons after it was trying to take down the people with bioweapons. Now Neo's trying to stop the BSAA, and now they're the good guys and no longer have bioweapons. And then we have... Every time he leaves, the bioweapons take over his last job, or his whole entire job just disappears. Which leads us to... Now, there are all these changes. What might this mean? I know that it could be, say, the multiverse, but I'll try and come up with something other than the multiverse. Now, I'm going to take this from the Resident Evil movies.
What?
No, all right. I know that sounds bad.
Now, I know that they're dog, but there's many clones of Alice, and of the main character Alice. And I think if you want a more canon in Resident Evil 8, there's a lot of Rose clones. And while it might have been in the Megamyces, we learned that it can make all the clones real, like with Evie. Even if that failed, it was still possible. And why am I bringing this up? Well, in every game we see a new Chris. Now, why would someone do this? Well, look, Chris in RE5 and 8 can be a killing machine. Well, 7 too. And if he's a clone, that would explain why, from his POV, the other job is now bad. And that would explain why even after hating Umbrella, he would join Neo, which he joined in Resident Evil 7 and 8. I mean, if you look at Chris in Resident Evil 7 to 8, they look very different. And we know that even if the clone of Chris still hated Umbrella, they could make him do whatever they wanted, like they did with Jill in RE5. And that brings us to the last part. So Chris looking different, acting different, sounding different. Every time he leaves, then they're bad or just disappear. All that leads me to say that what we thought would be one person was many. And, well, it may not be the perfect answer, but, it's better than Multiverse. And also, there's a bunch of reasoning backing it up, so if you don't believe it, I don't know why you're still at the end of the video, but okay, you can click off now. But to all the people who did like this theory, make sure to like and subscribe and ask yourself, who was the original Chris? Which is totally not the original, aka RE1. Just had to classify that.